His own sister called him a, quote, mediocre survivalist. But whatever Brian Laundrie is doing right now, tonight, to stay alive, he has somehow remained undetected for 4 weeks straight. Yet with every passing week, when you're running for your life, everything gets tougher. The weather gets colder, the body gets thinner, and your mind becomes your own worst enemy. Just ask a Navy SEAL. They go through mental torture to see if they've got what it takes to survive when the enemy is after you. Joining me now is Joel Lambert. He's a 10-year veteran of the Navy SEALs, and he's the host of Lone Target, a show all about eluding capture by the best fugitive trackers in the world. He also runs escapeandevademobile.com. Joel, it's really great to have you back on the show tonight. You know, I have this question. You told me this amazing expression that the Navy SEALs say you can get to the mind through the body. And I keep thinking that Brian's body can't be in too good a shape after 4 weeks if he is, in fact, out in the wilderness. So what does that say about what's going through his mind? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, but I think that his mind is probably, well, there's a lot of things that are going to be affecting his mind, but your mental mindset is the most important tool, and it could also be your worst enemy. And after this long, with this much stress on the guy, and probably, as we also spoke about, he's probably working with a calorie deficit. That affects your gray matter as well. So his mental fortitude is going to be probably the thing that's bringing him down the most right now if he's out in the wilderness.
Well, let's talk about, since we just hit week 4, right? Tonight, it's the actual week-anniversary. What happens in week 1? You've got this sort of this rule of threes, and I wanted to sort of think through week 1 with regard to your rule of threes. Explain it for me.
Right. Well, the rule of threes is something to guide your thinking and your planning in a survival or escape and evasion situation. And the rule of threes states that you can survive 3 hours without shelter, you can survive 3 days without water, and you can survive 3 weeks without food. And obviously those are guidelines, and there's other factors that are dependent upon that. But for the most part, you need to prioritize shelter first, because your body, and shelter is anything that protects your physical body from the elements. So good clothing is shelter. A tent, of course, is shelter. A lean-to that you can build is shelter. A fire that will warm your body is shelter. But then water, you'll start dehydrating if you don't get water right away after shelter. And then, of course, food, you can go a long time without food. It's not comfortable, and you're not going to be doing well, but you're not going to die or get into a debilitated state with your body for several weeks with food.
Yeah, I think people would be, but I was going to say people would be thinking, wait a minute, 3 hours, no shelter, but, you know, the elements, you've got to really consider the elements, and that can take you out very quickly. But go ahead, what were you going to say?
Exactly. Well, as far as that goes, the 3 hours, that's in inclement weather. I mean, and if it's a sunny, warm day in Florida and he's in a T-shirt and shorts, he's going to be fine. But that's what you have to assess. You have to know that his shelter is the first thing. So assess the weather, assess your clothing, assess you know, the environment that you're in, and make that call. Do I need to, is a blizzard coming in? If that's the case, I need to stop everything and I need to get shelter from that. A rainstorm coming in, I have to stop everything and get shelter from that. A desert sun, I have to stop everything and get shelter from that before you move on to your next priorities. So the situation dictates. The situation will always depend on, you know, all the factors that are involved.
Well, as far as the food goes, I saw a part of your show where you did something I'm not sure any of us could ever do or think about, but I guess when you have to, you have to. You trapped a snake, and that was dinner. So let's take a peek at it and ask you a couple things about it next. Take a look.
All right.
For one, all the things that I'm going to be doing, the counter-tracking techniques, the booby traps, the insertion, the extracts, some of the little tricks and tools I'll use to find food and catch food, start fires.
It's a boa. Look at that guy. See those teeth? They're like needles. Now you know what they call special forces guys, snake eaters.
There we go. Get a little snake fillet out.
So, okay, is this something that, you know, because you're elite, you're a Navy SEAL, would the average, really good camper who was in a van crossing the country, would he know how to do that?
I don't know what this guy knows, but honestly, snake is very good eating, and most people know that snake is, you can eat any snake, even venomous snakes. You just have to obviously watch out for the snake venom, but all snakes are edible. So if you can catch a snake, they can be they can hurt you, and that's one of the things you want to weigh, is the risk worth the reward. But a snake, especially if he's in Florida, in a reserve in Florida, there's a lot of snake, and that would be a good way to get protein.
Wow, yeah, it's perfume, right? It's pretty dangerous to risk that. However, I want to move to week 2, week 2, let's discuss the adrenaline and what that does to what you call the 4 Fs. I think they're like fight, flight, freeze, and focus. I don't think I'd heard the freeze and focus before, but walk me through the adrenaline and what those 4 things mean.
Okay, well, in nature and human beings as well, we have a fight or flight response, and everyone's familiar with fight or flight. When you're threatened, you tend to turn towards fight or turn towards flight. But that's often overlooked in nature. There's a third one, which is freeze. And so a lot of animals will freeze when they're threatened. And we see that a lot as well. But something that we don't talk about very often is that you can, with training and with mindset, you can acquire a 4th skill, which is focus. When you're threatened, you can focus. Your eyes dilate. You let more light in. Your breathing, your respiration increases. Your muscles are flooded with adrenaline. You're ready to move. You're ready to attack. You're ready to be the best human you can be. And so with training, an adrenaline response can also be a very positive thing that focuses you against the threat or against whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Okay, so I want to move into week 3. He may have actually dealt with the stress. However, it could be because he's found a rhythm in whatever his new normal is out there. If he's on the trail and he's been having to, struggle against the malnourishment or the rationing of food, I can't imagine that the stress wouldn't come back, because rationing food and, dealing with the onset of malnourishment, that's got to make you nervous going into week 4.
Absolutely. And as you're working, time goes on, and you're dealing probably with a caloric deficit. If he's brought food with him, he's going to be starting to run low, and he's probably been rationing it. And so he's, like I said, caloric deficit, and that's going to be affecting all the aspects of his mind and his body. But then also, if he's acquiring food out there, if he's finding edible plants and berries and things like that, or snakes and things of that nature, that requires time, that requires focus, that requires noise, that requires him moving around, that requires somebody hunting things. That's a very easy time to get compromised and get caught, because you're forced to move and gather and not just stay put.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit in the next block about moving at night, because I always thought, gosh, move at night, don't move during the day. And you've got a surprising answer to that. And the answer is no. We'll talk about it in a second. But let's talk about, the week 4 now, that you're at a point now where the malnourishment's really kicked in. A skinny guy like Brian Laundrie is going to be a hell of a lot skinnier, which means he's going to be a hell of a lot colder. Fighting the elements won't be quite as easy as before. And then there's what the stress does after, night after night after night, in the addition to the guilt, because he may have done something. Like, we don't know if he killed Gabby, but if he did, he is running with that, or he's running with the notion that everybody thinks he did, and that's got to play a lot of tricks on your mind. Talk about how you fight your own mind.
Massive. The mind is going to be your make or break. Mindset is everything. The proper mindset, you can overcome extreme difficulty, but if your mindset isn't premierly focused and sharp and conditioned, then your mind is going to cause the cracks that's going to break everything down. And I think in this situation where you have a guy, who knows what he's done, but the circumstantial evidence, and obviously with him on the run, on the lam, that doesn't bode well for what he may or may have not done. And even if he's innocent, he knows that cops, and he knows that he's being hunted and he can't go home and he's on the run. That's the kind of thing that's going to weigh very heavy on someone's mind, and it's going to drag him down. And I think that you may see a mental collapse before too long. It may be the kind of thing that, kind of like suicide by cop. He might do something very stupid in order to get caught because he just wants it all to be over.